This is truly terrifying. 44% of Canadians aged 55 to 64 have less than $5,000 in savings, and 75% have $100,000 or less. So why is saving the first 100K the hardest? I'm Joe Macek, cross-border investment advisor with IA Private Wealth and IA Private Wealth USA. Today, I'm going to show you why saving your first 100K is the hardest and why your net worth explodes after 100K. Let's jump in. Charlie Munger, the legendary billionaire, once said, "The first 100K is a but you've got to do it. I don't care what you have to do if it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon. Find a way to get your hands on 100K. After that, you can ease off the gas a little bit." And he's right. That first 100K, while incredibly tough to reach, is probably the most important chunk of money that you can save. But why? Well, what most people don't see when saving that first 100K is that the bulk of it is made up of the principal that you have painstakingly saved, with only a tiny sliver coming from returns. Your initial savings are doing almost all of the heavy lifting, and the growth on the account barely makes a dent. Let me show you what I mean. If you save $15,000 a year for 6 years with a modest 5% rate of return, you will accumulate approximately $102,327. Out of this total, the bulk of it, $90,000, would come from your own savings, and only $12,327 would be earned from growth. So this translates to about 88% of the 100K figure that would have to come from your hard-earned savings, and just 12.04% would come from growth. Okay, so we all know that that's not a huge return. So what happens if you go for a higher return? Well, you'd think it'd be better, and it is slightly, but in reality, the numbers don't change that much. Let's say that you're saving just $10,000 a year, but scoring a stellar 10% rate of return. Even with this impressive rate, it's still going to take you 8 years to hit about $116,000. And guess what? Even with that phenomenal rate of return, your savings will still make up just under 69% of your total amount. So what's the big takeaway here? Well, saving up your first 100K is not about the investment gains or your rate of return. It's mostly about the savings that you put in. So why is this? Well, the short answer is, in order to make the returns a meaningful amount, you're going to need a substantial amount of capital or capital base to achieve this. The larger your initial investment, the more significant your returns can be, making it easier to see substantial growth. So what does that mean? Well, let's imagine that you invest just $100 in the stock market. And I think for most of us, we can agree that $100 is not the largest capital base to start from. But let's assume that that's the case and you earn a 10% rate of return. At the end of the year, you'll have earned $10. That's not much, but given the capital base that we're starting from, it would seem to make sense. Now let's scale that capital base up to an extreme example. Let's take Berkshire Hathaway's A common shares, which had a capital base of $937 billion as of August 2nd, 2024. If we apply a 10% growth rate to that number, you'd make a staggering $93.7 billion in just 1 year. Same 10% return, but a massive amount of money made on a huge capital base. This is why a lot of people out there say it takes money to make money, or it seems like the rich just get richer. Your capital base holds a lot of weight in your growth, and this is why Edgar Bronfman was quoted as saying, "To turn $100 into $110 is work. To turn 100 million into 110 million is inevitable." Now, I want to show you even more evidence of just how important that first 100K is to save, along with some other evidence that hitting the like button for the YouTube algorithm really helps out my channel. And if you like my content, along with how I snuck this shameless plug in so far, please consider subscribing, because then I can get back to showing you exactly how important saving that first 100K is by returning to our example of saving $10,000 a year and achieving a 7% rate of return on your money. Now, the stock market generally returns around 8 to 10% annually, but we will use 7% as a conservative number. If you stick to saving and investing $10,000 each year, it would take you about 7.66 years to reach your first 100K. But many people mistakenly believe that saving $1 million, as it's 10 times as much as 100K, 100K would take 7.66 years multiplied by 10, which would mean almost 77 years. But that just isn't the case. The time frame is a lot quicker. After you have reached 100K, it only takes about 5.1 years to save the next 100K to reach 200K. The reason? Well, your initial 100K begins to generate growth and you're still adding $10,000 annually. This combination of growth and ongoing contributions speeds up your progress, making the journey to your next 100K financial milestone that much faster. How much faster? Well, as we have said already, the first 100K takes 7.67 years, the second 100K takes 5.1 years, the third 3.77 years, the fourth 3.01 years, and the fifth just 2.5 years. To reach the $1 million mark, it takes 30.33 years with these assumptions. Now, what's interesting to note is with that first 100K, it took 7.67 years, which is 25.28% of the total time to hit $1 million. The remaining 900,000 takes just 74.62% of the total time to accumulate. And when you see it on this chart, it's striking how hard it really is to build that first 100K of wealth in the beginning. Now, here's something else that's interesting. Once you surpass the $1 million mark, the next 100K milestone after hitting 1 million takes just 15 months, only about 15% of the total time it took to earn you your first 100K. This is why your net worth explodes after 100K. The true challenge is getting through those early saving stages. If you can reach 100K faster than 7.67 years, you'll set yourself up for a much faster wealth accumulation. So what's the moral of the story here? Well, it would seem that it is super important not to focus on earning millions when it comes to saving and investing, but to concentrate on saving your first 100K. Because after that, your net worth could really take off. So what do you do to increase your savings rate? Well, after hours of research on YouTube looking up the most frugal savers, some of them save in the 80% range, which is pretty incredible. There are 5 common traits that hardcore savers do to be able to really aggressively save and help their chances of saving that first 100K faster. Number 1, they have a strict budget and they stick to it. Strict budgeting and discipline are key to saving large portions of your income. By tracking every dollar and sticking to a budget, you cut unnecessary spending and can boost your savings a lot. In some cases, you can even increase your savings rate from 10% up to 30, 40, or even 50% of your income. Saving 40 to 50% of your income isn't easy. It demands extraordinary self-control and discipline. It means saying no to spontaneous splurges, sticking rigidly to a budget, and making sacrifices in your daily life. The temptation to spend is everywhere, and it's a constant battle to resist. But if you can master this level of self-control, you will be well on your way to saving that first 100K. Number 2, they live very frugally. Frugal living isn't just about saving a few bucks. It's a bold choice to live simply and prioritize your financial future. It means skipping expensive dinners and cooking at home, using public transport instead of buying a flashy car, and shopping for secondhand items instead of brand new ones. It's about making every dollar count and focusing on the long-term stability over short-term pleasures. This lifestyle demands discipline and a shift in mindset, but it's a powerful way to save your first 100K and stretch your money further. Number 3, they pay themselves first and automate their savings. Paying yourself first is a game changer in personal finance. It means treating your savings and investments as essential expenses, just like rent or utilities. Instead of waiting to see what's left over at the end of the month, you prioritize saving a portion of your income as soon as you receive it. By setting up automatic transfers from your checking account to savings or investment accounts, you help ensure that a significant portion of your income is saved before you can spend it. This strategy can build a solid financial foundation and help accelerate your path to wealth, turning saving into a disciplined, non-negotiable habit rather than an afterthought. Number 4, they almost all have side hustles. Almost all of the hardcore savers I've researched share a common strategy. They have side hustles. These individuals don't rely solely on their main income, but actively go after additional streams of revenue. Whether it's freelancing, consulting, or running an online business, these side gigs are an integral part to their overall financial strategy. By leveraging your skills and passions outside your primary job, you can boost your savings rate and accelerate your ability to save your first 100K. Number 5, they aggressively pay down debt. If you're serious about saving your first 100K, aggressive debt repayment should be near the top of your list. Focus on tackling high interest debt with intensity as it's a major roadblock to your financial goals. Paying off this debt quickly will free up more of your income for saving, and you won't be chained to those relentless interest payments. By eliminating debt faster, you can redirect those funds into your savings and investments, helping to accelerate your journey to that critical 100K milestone. This strategy isn't just about reducing what you owe, it's about liberating your cash flow to build wealth more effectively. And lastly, they keep score. Serious savers keep a very close watch on their progress every month. Hardcore savers do this by regularly looking over their savings and checking how much closer they are to their target. They also record their balances monthly and chart their progress. By tracking your progress meticulously, you can not only stay accountable, but you can spot any issues early on, and you can adjust your strategy if it's needed. This focused approach turns saving into a clear, actionable goal and keeps you on the path to hitting that 100K milestone. Reaching your first 100K is tough, but it's critical. It's all about hard work and discipline. But one thing that might make things easier is working with an investment advisor or portfolio manager, as it can make a huge difference. Studies have consistently shown that people who use financial professionals often have up to 3 times the net worth and feel much more confident about their finances than going it alone. So push through the initial grind and consider expert help to help accelerate your path to wealth. The hardest part is just the beginning, but the rewards are game-changing. Do you want to know a better way to help protect your mortgage? Or maybe you want to learn more about my latest upload? Well, I've got everything all queued up and ready for you. Click here for more amazing financial insights. I'll be waiting. We'll see you soon.